Game of the year in our world. Game of the year in a lot of worlds, I think. In Big Ten Conference play, everybody's going to watch this one. It's going to be a fun one. There's a lot on the line for both of these teams and for us, Carter. It's Purdue, Illinois, Mackey Arena, Friday night. I'm glad this is on a Friday night, honestly, because I think it gets a little spotlight nationally that it wouldn't if it was just lumped into a Saturday slate with a bunch of other games. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on this game, and I'm very excited for that. It looks like you're holding a pillow, which scares me a little bit.
Well, I just realized it's somewhat, I feel like, sacrilegious to have on an Indiana shirt as I'm doing a Purdue preview.
It's
So
good
this is
wear.
out this is out of respect for Gene Katie and Lance Jones.
I appreciate that. We've had a lot of pushback on our dialogues around Purdue starting small forward this week. Do you want to address any of that off the top?
Lance Jones is a good role player.
He's a good player. He's a good
Yeah,
player.
he's a good player.
He's a good player. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's try and keep the positive vibes up for this whole
Good role.
video. He's a good player. Purdue, Illinois, the top two teams in the Big Ten. Illinois has looked phenomenal without Terrence Shannon Jr. Purdue has looked phenomenal all season long. This is like unstoppable force, immovable object. What's going to happen? Well, usually what happens in Mackey Arena is the home team wins the game. Last year, we were in Mackey Arena for this game. I'm getting chills just thinking of it. I'm honestly sad we're not going to be there this year. But, man, Purdue was destroying Illinois, so much so that you and I were, like, just on the concourse, like, having fun with the big bobblehead. And then all of a sudden, we look up, it's a 10-point game. All of a sudden, we look up, it's a 2-point game. Illinois storms back, really made their physicality known in that game. We got a highly entertaining finish. Purdue survived. Purdue cut down nets as Big Ten champions. This year, I think this game has some serious implications because Purdue's a game behind Illinois in the conference standings right now, thanks to that Boo-Booey loss. They need to win this game. Like I don't think it's a stretch to say you can't fall 2 games behind Illinois with the tiebreaker for now going to Illinois. And from those that I've talked to in Purdue circles, I don't think they think there's going to be any issues for Purdue in this game. I mean, you lose Terrence Shannon, obviously on paper that's big. I'd be careful about that. I think this Illinois team is going to be up for the challenge, and there's some really, really interesting things matchup-wise that could make this one tougher than it looks on paper. Before I throw it to you for your thoughts on the actual matchup, we have to address our opportunity here at the top, okay? Look, we are Sleepers Media. We cover all things college basketball, definitely all things Big Ten basketball. We do previews and recaps for all these games, right? Everybody knows this is watching this video by now. Illinois and Purdue have been our 2 favorite teams to cover this season for sure. And probably our 2 biggest fan bases. Like I would say Purdue and Illinois fans have shown us a ton of support. Some of our highest viewed videos this season and before this season have belonged to Purdue and Illinois as basketball programs. With that said, Cart, we have a little challenge for Purdue and Illinois fans here that could lead to a challenge for us. If this preview video gets a total of 15,000 views, we will do a challenge. And I think that's a high mark. I don't want to say I expect 15,000 views. Any number of views on this would be fantastic. We don't feel entitled to these views by any means, but we've had a couple videos go over the 10,000 mark in channel history. A couple Illinois videos specifically go over the 10,000 mark. If this one gets to 15,000 off the backs of the power of the Purdue fan base and the Illinois fan base, Carter and I will drive halfway between our houses. We live 2 hours away from each other. We will drive halfway. We will meet at a random bowling alley, and we will do the bowling 300 hot dog challenge. You know what that means? Carter and I will simultaneously bowl bowling games at the same time. We need a combined 600 between us in the 2 games we're bowling concurrently. And we can't leave the bowling alley until we do that. We can knock off 10 pins for every hot dog that we eat. Carter tells me he's a horrible bowler.
Horrible. Like I scratch and claw to reach like 112.
Okay, I can get consistent 200s if I like really dial in. So that would mean we need to eat roughly like 30 hot dogs between us if we bowl well.
Is there any stipulations on the hot, like do all the glizzies have to be eaten with bun?
Yes, bun and dog, and whatever else you want on top of that.
Okay, I'll say I like to dress my glizzies up, so that's going to be something. But Yeah, I'm willing to
Do
commit.
it. Okay. Yeah. My problem would be that when we do that, I'll be like ordering sides. Like I'll want like some waffle fries to go with
I'll
it.
definitely want a brew too while I'm bowling.
Yeah, we're gonna end up stuck there. It's gonna end up an overnight trip for us for sure, wherever it is. But that's the challenge, the task. So if you want to see Carter and I do something that's stupid, we love our food bets here. 15,000 views is the mark we need. So Illinois Purdue fans, send this to your friends, send this to your family. Tell them that the podcast that you enjoy watching, you enjoy supporting us, you've enjoyed our coverage of Illinois and Purdue all season long, has an opportunity to do something really stupid with your help. 15,000 views is the number we need. Let's get to the preview. Like I said, really interesting matchup, mostly because without Terrence Shannon, Illinois has become a team of anybody can beat you. And I think it was that way even with Terrence Shannon, but you knew that going into every single game, Shannon was the focal point. Now Illinois is a team where you don't know. Is it going to be Damask? Is it going to be Rogers? Is it going to be Coleman? Is it going to be Guerrier? It could be any single one of these guys. And they're all switchable wings, man. Like they don't play a true point guard. They don't play a true center other than Dane. It's going to be tough for Purdue to match up with because I don't know what you do with Zach Edey. What do you think happens with Edey defensively in this game?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think the point that you made early on before we got to the bet was the stylistic difference. And I've been thinking about what this would look like with Terrence Shannon Jr. because obviously we recorded a lot and did a lot of Illinois Purdue videos. And this game was circled before any of this happened because we knew the implications that this would have in the Big Ten. And I've gotten to a point where I might be reaching, might be spin zone territory here, but a lot of what Terrence Shannon did when he was effective this season was all downhill, 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 transition, basket, basket, like doing all that. Very, very tough to score against Zach Edey because he's amazing at walling up. He's 7'4", and like he knows he doesn't get enough credit for the rim protection that he provides. Now, obviously, Terrence Shannon has seen Edey before. I'm actually confident that he could do that. But without Terrence Shannon Jr. on Illinois, isn't there somewhat of a less of an emphasis on attacking the basket and more of an emphasis on kind of, I saw in the last game against Northwestern just a lot of ball movement and also hunting players on defense. There are players that can be hunted on defense on this Purdue team. There are also players that might struggle a little bit like with the ball movement that I think Illinois can do because I don't think Illinois gets enough credit for what they do on offense because it doesn't look like a set. I think they're really good offensively at moving the ball and hunting out matchups, and that is good offense in my eyes. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's some things that Brad can do lineup wise too that can maybe keep like Purdue off balance. Like there could be like some Coleman at the 5 things, and you have Gary out the 4. It might provide maybe a little bit of a mismatch at some positions. But it also goes the same way for if Coleman has to check somebody like Zach Edey on the other end of the floor. So it'll be very interesting to see. I think the coaching matchup will be very prevalent in this game to see how both coaches kind of approach it and plan on attacking the other team.
Okay, that's a fun little prompt for me. Which coach do you trust more? Because this is a straight up like
right now.
Well,
right now, I coach. I trust Brad more.
Whoa!
Yeah, right now I trust Brad more. I do.
Like the ball is rolled out, and in the confines of the game, you trust Brad more than you trust Matt Painter.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that is like Painter hasn't really had to deal with anything this year. Like everything's gone smooth. He got his National Player of the Year back. His sophomore guards came back and got better. Like everything was pretty smooth. He added one guy in the transfer portal. And everything's fine. Like they added Lance Jones and everyone was happy and it's beautiful. On the other hand, Illinois, we didn't get a point guard this summer. Are Coleman and TSJ going to be better this year? What are Damask and Guerrier and guys like that going to do? And Harmon, what are they going to add to the team? And he's answered the call with all those questions. And Ty Rogers has looked good at point guard. And now they had the TSJ situation where they lose their All-American player. And in the 2 games after that, I think they've looked immaculate. So I just think right now, given the situation and given just the status of just this season, right now, I just like I'm picking Brad, and that's not a slight to Coach Painter, but I think Underwood gets the nod right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's my answer too. And I love Matt Painter. I think if I could pick any coach in the country to be my head coach, these are two of my top three. Like I would go Bill Self, because when you have Bill Self, you have anything you want. The world is your oyster. Brad Underwood and Matt Painter are right there. I just love I love who Brad is and how he's bounced back from last season. And I think Matt Painter's the best coach in this conference. And at some point, he's going to get over the hump. They're just going to start making Final Fours constantly. With that said, I think it's really, really impressive last year where Purdue was as good as they are and Illinois was like a down version of themselves. Like, I think at the end of last season, when they played that game in Mackey Arena, Cart, you tell me if you think I'm wrong. I think that was essentially the lowest point we're going to see of the Brad Underwood Illinois era. Like, that team had guys in and out that had already left. They visibly hated each other. Matthew Meyer was in the middle of a caffeine overdose. Like, it was the very end of last season where everyone seemed like it was like, this ain't working and we're unhappy. And Brad still had this game tied with 2 minutes left against the best version of Purdue we've seen. So I just think you've got to almost, I don't know, organically give Brad Underwood credit where you can't expect to blow out a Brad Underwood Illinois team, especially one that poses so many interesting matchup problems for Purdue. With that said, we can talk all day about like, okay, who's Edey going to guard? It's going to be difficult. How the hell is Illinois going to guard Zach Edey?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that Coleman obviously doesn't have the mass to hang with a Zach Edey, and they had guys like Dane on the bench, but Dane's downfall is defense, and I don't want any part of Braden Smith putting Dane Danger in a pick and roll situation. So, do they double? I don't think that's the worst idea. Maybe starting out doubling and seeing what it's looking like, because I think we have seen that so far this year, Purdue has been able to knock down shots to win basketball games. Like they have a lot of guys on this team that are hovering around or at 40% from three. And Fletcher Lawyer himself gets up for big games. Like this would be a big game in that situation. So if it was up to me, I would probably start out by doubling and seeing kind of how it plays out with if guys are knocking down shots or not, because I don't think that the method, and I'm speaking from a Michigan State standpoint, the let Edey eat man point or focal point doesn't always work out to the level that people think it is. Like I saw Michigan State try that at the Breslin Center last year, and Zach Edey had 40 and they won the basketball game and he hit the game winner. Like that's what he has. So it'll be interesting to see. But I feel like we've done a little bit too much. Like, I mean, we do love Illinois this year, but also at the same time, we're talking about Purdue. Like, Purdue is the best team in the country right now. They are. So it's a healthy balance of Purdue's the best team in the country. Zach Edey's the best player in the country. Illinois is right now the main contender for the Big Ten for Purdue. And I don't think that Brad Underwood is the type of coach that can't go into Mackey, or Illinois is the type of team that can't go into Mackey and get a win.
Yeah. I think Purdue, the best team in the country. I agree. That also means by default, they're the best team in this game. Like we want to sit here and talk about how high we are on Illinois against any other team in this conference right now. We'd probably be picking Illinois to go on the road and beat them. Like that's how high we are. We love the way they're playing. They're so fun to watch. They're so unselfish. I think in the long run, it's going to be good for them that they got this experience without Shannon, whether or not they get Shannon back. Right now, I said it in the last video, this is my pick to win the national championship. I'm standing by that. I think Illinois is the team I trust most in the country when we get to the NCAA tournament, which is insane that I'm saying that about a Brad Underwood team, but I believe it. I believe in these players so much from what I've seen. Like there isn't, comparatively to Purdue, I trust every guy that steps on the floor for Illinois. I trust 3 players that step on the floor for Purdue. And that gets even dicier when we get to the single elimination point of the season. And look, anything could happen. Illinois could fall apart and Brad Underwood could do the Brad Underwood thing where they lose. I will probably look very stupid picking a Brad Underwood team to win a national championship. But none of that matters in this game, right? Like who I trust more long-term doesn't matter for who do I trust more in Mackey Arena on January 5th when Purdue needs this one. Like Purdue needs this one more than Illinois needs this one. They're a game behind these dudes in the standings. They can't lose this and skate to a Big Ten championship. So I think as much as we want to praise Illinois, the reality of the situation is like this is the toughest test that Illinois is going to have to face this season. And even though we love them, I would personally be shocked if Illinois wins this game.
Shock. Okay, but okay, define shock though. Like if you're
Shocked.
giving a percentage chance that they win this game, what are you putting it at?
I think this is going to sound a little wild. I think it's a 90% chance this is a single digits game. I think it's a 10% chance Illinois actually wins.
Okay. I think it's for sure going to be, actually not for sure. I would say like 80% single digit game, but I would give the percentage more up sort of like 25, 30. And that's because it's at Mackey. Like I don't know. Would this be the best win of the season? Like for a Big Ten team?
For either of them?
Yeah. Like because
No.
like Purdue had all those wins in the in the non-conference.
I like if Illinois wins it, yes, definitely. I think I don't think
That's more so what I mean. Like would Illinois win at Mackey like be better than, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter like putting like those wins up against each other, but like this win would be like without your All-American on the road at Mackey against the #1 team in the country against the reigning National Player of the Year who will go back to back as the National Player of the Year.
Yeah, it would be time for all the national people who clearly don't pay attention to Illinois to start paying attention to Illinois. That would be my thing. And that's no shots at anyone in particular, but I think there's a lot of people who are not watching this team. Like if you're still skeptical of Illinois after the last two games, that tells me you haven't watched the last two games. They look so good, and it's translatable things like them putting 104 points and then 96 points in their last two games on Fairleigh Dickinson Northwestern is not like they got hot shooting. Like the way they did that was here to stay. Like the mask is hunting mismatches. If he doesn't have the mismatch, they use Ty Rodgers to get the mismatch. Guerrier is cutting. He's always open, or he's spotting up and hitting shots. Like they have so many ways to beat you. It's crazy. Speaking of ways to beat them, just quickly, the backcourt in this game, Braden Smith, best guard in this game for sure. One of the best guards in the country. We love him. With that said, Cart, one of your favorite things to do, Braden Smith, going to feel a little like this in this game. He's a little small compared to everyone Illinois is going to throw at him. How do you think Illinois is going to approach this? You think they're going to have Ty guard him? And if they do, can Ty really make it tough on Braden?
I think Ty can make it tough on Braden, to be honest with you. And it's not just Ty making it tough on Braden. I think that with the switchability on the pick and roll, I think will make it tough on Braden too, because I think Braden has been a master at getting to like that elbow space or coming off that screen and being like very aggressive and getting his shot. I think it'll be a lot tougher with guys like Ty Rodgers fighting over the screens, and also the ability to have like Guerrier and other guys like Coleman, who I think are good in the pick and roll defense and active with their hands. They'll definitely make it tough. And also, like we have seen in these past two games, that Ty Rodgers has had the ability to kind of pinpoint that he has a smaller guy on him and go to the basket and make plays and finish. Now, it's going to be a lot different when Zach Edey's down there, but also at the same time, Zach Edey might not be in the paint. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of who Illinois will have out there, won't Edey kind of be hanging around the three-point line or a little bit out of the paint? Because, the way that Coleman can hit shots and the way that Guerrier has been hitting shots as of late, like you have to atone for those guys. So I think it'll be interesting to see what it looks like. And I mean, you said it already, but like we only gave Illinois a 30% chance. But like as I'm looking at the matchups, like the one thing that we can't deny is Zach Edey's amazing. Braden Smith's also amazing. And Fletcher Lawyer in big games and as of late has been good, amazing too. But when I do like a matchup to matchup thing, I just feel myself taking Illinois players.
So I was doing this in my head before we clicked record. If you were just going to go up and down the rosters and say players you want on your side in this game, like schoolyard pick'em type thing, Zach Edey's the first pick. Braden Smith is the second pick, without question. If Terrence Shannon Jr. was in this game, the story would be different there. I think we would both probably pick Terrence Shannon second, Braden Smith third. That's no disrespect, but we love Braden Smith. Terrence Shannon is the second best player in the country, in our opinion. He's not. So that means you have Edey, you have Smith, and then you have like a bunch of choices to make. If it was me making the choice, I think the next 4 guys I'm taking are from Illinois, if not 5. And that's no disrespect to Fletcher, who I think Fletcher could go for 35 in this game. I wouldn't be surprised. Straight up. He's a big game dude. Lance Jones could catch fire and be great and make me look like the dumbest person on earth and make you look like an even dumber person than me. It could happen. I won't be surprised. I'm taking Marcus Damask, the guy who's had 30 in 2 of the biggest games of the season, just had 36 and 5 last game. I'm taking Quincy Guerrier, who has been at like 15 or more, 5 straight consecutive games right now. He's more consistent than Fletcher Lawyer is. I'm taking Coleman Hawkins, who is still one of the most versatile players in the country when he's healthy. He is a mismatch for Zach Edey, as much as Zach Edey is a mismatch for him. And outside of that, man, I think there's an argument that you want Ty Rodgers with who he is defensively, with the mismatch he provides. Like, if Purdue sticks Braden Smith or Fletcher Lawyer on Ty Rodgers, he's going to go right through them and get his post-up stuff. And I know Edey's there, but Illinois has the flexibility to put shooters around Ty to the point that Edey's going to have to run out to the three-point line. And if they put Edey on Ty Rodgers, which would be fascinating, I don't know what happens. And I believe Painter did that a little bit last year. He put Zach Edey on Ty Rodgers. If that happens, I have no idea what, like does Underwood just bench Ty and go 5 shooters? Because then, there's a lineup here where Underwood could go Damask, Goody, Guerrier, Hawkins, and who's the 5th shooter that I'm missing? Oh, Harmon. He could go those 5, and I don't think Zach Edey can even stand on the court defensively. They'd get a wide open shot every single time if they have that lineup offensively.
Yeah, and also another matchup that, while we're on the matchup topic that I was speaking on, Damask, to me, this year has been most effective when he's been able to hunt and also expose guys that aren't as good defensively or smaller players. Like against FAU, John O'Davis is a good player, good defender. I would even give him that credit, but he just wasn't. He wasn't like Marcus Damask is 6'6". Yeah. Like he didn't have enough for him. Lance Jones is a good defender and is a physical defender. He's also 6'3", 6'2". So is he going to guard Damask in this game? Like I on paper, like that would be who guards him, right? So then it's like, okay, what does the physicality do? Does that affect Damask? It might affect Damask. I think he has struggled somewhat with physicality. I wouldn't say that much, but he struggled in the Tennessee game, I believe, and it was a pretty physical game. So, I'm interested to see what that matchup looks like. And then you have the whole, former teammate thing too, storyline. This game is going to be great at the end of the day. That's the thing. I'm just excited to watch it.
Yeah, I can't wait. Dane Danger, you've said every single game this season is a Dane game. Is this one a Dane game?
He should start, in my opinion, in this game. And we talked about
come on.
What?
This is the only game this season where we have to be objective about this and say this is not a Dane game. It's
not a Dane game, but could he start though? Like,
he can't play in this game, in my opinion. He can't play in this game.
He can't.
Well, that's not disrespectful of Dane, but like if Dane is on the court in this game, you have just as many defensive problems on Edey without the offensive exploitation of it.
Change your term on that. Change your tone on that though, because he shouldn't play because of his defensive liabilities and things like that. Let's not throw that can out there, because I'll tell you right now, Zach Edey doesn't want to see Dane Danger on that block. It gets scary.
It's getting swatted into the 5th row.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
It is. Yes, it is. So I'll say this. I don't think it's a Dane game. I don't think he can play. You want to know a couple guys from the Purdue side that I don't think can play in this game? And I might look real stupid looking back on this. I don't think Miles Colvin can play in this game.
I mean, yeah, that's probably true.
I mean, the minutes are going the wrong direction, but I don't think you can afford 2 to 3 possessions of Miles Colvin not knowing where his man is at defensively.
But who can you afford? Like, can you? I mean, I'm Cam Heidi hasn't been the given a glaring reason why he should be the guy.
I think he can play, but he's not going to give you much. Like I would be very afraid of Purdue's young guys in this game against Illinois' 24-year-olds who just don't know any better than to like desperately try and find a way to win a basketball game, you know?
Yeah, every minute that Colvin is on the floor, and honestly Cam Heidi too, Underwood is going to run, find him, go kill him for however many minutes they're on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Is this transfer portal versus no transfer portal? I mean, I know everyone's most polarizing player, Lance Jones, came from the portal, obviously, but the dialogues we've had with Purdue fans this week is, well, we don't need the transfer portal next year. Matt Painter's better than the transfer portal. We develop our players. Brad Underwood is like, we're going to get stars in the portal every single year. Like that's how I build my program, versus Painter saying that's not how I build my program. Which one do you think is the better move? Which one do you trust more?
Portal.
Your program doesn't portal, and you don't.
Exactly. And I hate it.
Okay. All right. There's obviously pros and cons, but it's interesting. Like Illinois' whole team is basically transfers. Purdue's whole team is their own guys plus one marquee transfer that everyone tells us is really important, but then they tell us they don't want transfers next year. So
Portal me.
portal. Okay. All right. Prediction time. Who wins this game? What's the score?
Ooh, I'm going to go. I'm gonna go. Actually, you know what? I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'm going Illinois to win this basketball game. I'm going Illinois to win. It's gonna be a tight game. It's gonna be extremely close. I'm gonna go Illinois to win 85-80.
Wow. Okay. I feel obligated to balance that out, so I'm going to go Purdue by 6. I think this is a very close game. I think Illinois has a late lead. I think Braden Smith makes some critical plays down the stretch, and honestly, I think Braden Smith wins them the game in crunch time, and Illinois' lack of a ball handler loses them the game in crunch time.
If Purdue wins this game, it'll be a Lance Jones masterclass. If Purdue wins.
I do want to say I think both teams play really well. Like I think we see like a high scoring,
Yeah.
everybody shoots well. We see the best of both teams.
I agree.
Yeah. Can't wait, man. Can't wait. This game. Do we are you just gonna be home for this game? Like, should we do something for this game?
The thing is, like, this is gonna be a great game. I want to be locked in.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't know. We could watch along this or something.
We could. Maybe we should see if we can set that up. I just don't want people to be like, why is he not doing anything? Because I'm locked in.
Yeah, true. Okay. All right. Good luck, Purdue, Illinois fans. 15,000 views on this video, and we'll have to lock ourselves in a random bowling alley until we bowl a combined 600, eating a hot dog for every 10 pins off. Goodbye.